Hello, you all. It's Truly Intuitive, and I'm coming to you guys with our prayer circle today. I thank you guys so much for bringing in your requests and keep trusting in me to help you guys build a closer connection to God, help you guys feel more consistent and open and connected to yourselves and God, I thank you guys so much for your time, your energy today. And I pray that this message, that this prayer hits you exactly where you need it. Before I even started to say anything, I always do these little prayers on my walk. I brought my daughter along, but as you can see, I am by myself because the first 3 minutes we started walking, she said she wanted to go back home. And I'm going to go into that as well within this conversation. But we're going to get to praying, God. We thank you so much for your grace and love, for everything that you do for us, for everything that you are. God, we thank you for just waking up today. As much as we're going through, as much pain as we're facing, as much overwhelm is in our minds, everything that we're going through, God, we thank you for breath. Because if we woke up today and didn't have breath, if we woke up today and didn't have good health, if we woke up today and weren't here, we would feel lost. We wouldn't even know what to do if we woke up today in any other way, God. So first and foremost, before we say anything, before we ask for anything, we want to thank you first and foremost for giving us health, God, today, for giving us love today, for giving us the sun today, for not letting the sun and the stars and everything fall out the sky today. God, we thank you for everything that you've given us. Thank you that we ate today. Thank you that we had water today. And God, if we didn't do any of those things yet, but say thank you, or even if we didn't receive yet today, God, please put it in our hearts and put it in our minds so that we can know that we're going to receive today. Yes, it is hard out here. I feel it in my spirit like I needed to say that. It is hard out here. For some of us, it's hard to find this money. It's hard for us to find something to eat. It's hard for us to know what we're going to wear. It's hard for us to know what is coming next. But definitely, one thing I know about the God that we serve is that we don't have to be anxious for anything. And I pray, God, today that everybody knows that they don't have to be anxious for anything. They don't have to be anxious for money. They don't have to be anxious to jump into a relationship. They don't have to be anxious for status. They don't have to be anxious for contentment. They don't have to be anxious for these material things or these spiritual things. They don't have to be anxious for what you got coming towards them, God, because it's coming. It's coming exactly when it needs to come. It's coming exactly how it needs to come. It's coming exactly the way that it needs to come. And we thank you so much for that, God. I know that we don't give you a lot of the time. I know that we give more time and energy to our hate, to our overwhelm, to the things that are making us anxious, to these people that are stressing us out. We give all of our time and all of our energy to these things so that it can validate us, so that it can make us feel whole, so they can make us feel like we're doing something, so we can prove to these things that we're meaning something. But God, we realize that we don't have to prove who we are and what we're doing to feel close to you. We don't have to. Being close to you is not proving ourselves to nobody. Being close to you is not proving ourselves to the people around us. Being close to you is not proving ourselves in any way. Being close to you is knowing who we are, knowing even that it hurts, knowing right now, even that we've made horrible decisions, knowing that we have to do something different, knowing. Being close to you is being in a state of knowing who we really are, knowing what we really need to do, knowing all these things. And the thing about it is we don't want to know sometimes. God, I'm sorry that we don't want to know, God. I'm sorry that we ignore some of the things that you pour into our hearts, pour into our minds, pour into our spirits. We ignore the fact that you're telling us something, that you're moving us in a certain way, that you're guiding us in a certain way. We ignore it. And we do this. We ignore this energy. We ignore you in these ways because we don't want to stop doing what we want to do right now. We don't want to stop thinking about the overwhelming fear. We don't want to stop with dealing with the job that we're dealing with. We don't want to be alone. We want to be outcasts. We don't want to not have anybody to talk to. So we would rather deal with stuff that we hate. We would rather deal with things that we hate and feel alone in the inside rather than really be alone but feel good about ourselves on the inside. Because we've never lived that life. We've never had to sacrifice and really give up the things that we said we wanted, because we've always been scared to be alone, scared to not have what everybody else has, scared of this other side of the spectrum. But God, I'm praying today that fear is released from us. And God, I know that you just don't be up here releasing fear. I'm going to be honest. The thing about it is, one thing I know about you, God, is that you make us walk with our cross. And when I say our cross, that's our transgressions. That's our sin. That's all the things that we knew we shouldn't have did, but we still did it. That's all the things that in the place that we should have been, but we were still there. That's all this stuff. You make us walk with that stuff, God. And not to condemn us and make us feel bad and make us feel low. God, you make us walk with that because we have to let other people know that they're walking with crosses too. Everybody wants to be perfect, and that's why we're all in pain, because all of us want to look at this life like, oh, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. It's okay. And you have to be, again, being close to God is acknowledging when stuff is not okay anymore. It's being in the know. A lot of us love these tarot readings and love these other situations because, or even affirmation, all this stuff, because it makes you feel better about the shitty things that you've done, the shitty places that you're in right now. When in reality, you have to be honest with yourself. That's why many readers can't read themselves. You ever wondered why your favorite reader can read you up and down, but she's online asking for somebody to read her? It's because you know what you're doing. You know the ways that you are overwhelmed. You know these things. But when it comes, and that's why you can see it clearly in somebody else. But when it comes to you, you do not want to look at it that way. You want to continue to be closed-minded. You want to continue to keep your heart shut. And that's why you can read somebody else up and down, but when it comes to yourself, you can't do it. And it's because you don't want to be honest with yourself. And knowing God is being honest with yourself. You don't need nobody else to tell you who you are, the fucked up shit you're doing, the fucked up shit that you already did. You don't need nobody else to tell you that. You know it. You know it bad. And that's why you have to go to other people. That's why you're hiding. That's why you're scared to make these certain moves. That's why you're scared to let go of all this shit that's hurting you. Because you know how bad you've gone. You know what you've done. And you know that when you've done something that you don't need to do, that a lot of time is taken from you. When you're in a place where you haven't, where whatever you're doing is not meant for you, it's not going to benefit you. You know it's going to be taken away. Even though you know you hate it, you don't want it, it's overwhelming you. You know all these things, but you are still sad that it has to go. And because of that, that's how you know. That's how. Hold on. But because of this, because you're just still so sad of what's to come, because you're still so sad of what you're missing, so sad about what you don't, what you don't have, you are focusing on where you are right now instead of where you could be. You're focused on where you are right now instead of where you can be, and you can be so much in a place so much better than where you are right now. You can be so much happier. You can be so much clearer. You can be so much more open. Many of you guys are going through situations with your families. Many of you guys are going through situations with your money. Many of you are going through situations with your health. Many of you are going through situations in relationships. I'm going to let the car ride by. I'm a little hot, y'all see. But you guys are going through situations that are hard right now. Especially, like, I know that, let's talk about family and things first. Where our family are going through health issues, where our family is going through money issues, where our family is not supportive or showing love to us, where our family is not being there, where our family is leaving us high and dry, where our family is just not being this pillar of love and support and stability and godliness that we think that God's supposed to be. And that's why we don't believe in God half the time. Because we weren't even raised up in situations where people had crazy faith, in situations where people actually went to God with their problems. We saw people, everybody in our lives, handle their problems on their own. As much as they may have prayed, as much as they may have done all this other stuff, these people still handled their shit on their own. They weren't waiting on God to give them a sign. They was out here fucking, sucking, trying to do whatever they could to gather up money, to keep a man, to keep a woman, to do whatever. They prayed and all that stuff on Sunday, but when it came to actually believing and making sure that that their heart was in this posture that they always told us our heart should be in, it wasn't there. And that could have been just your grandma, your mama, all these things. Like, these people told us how to be and told us what we should have done. But when it came down to it, these people do it. Were these people in this same position? And you can't be saying, oh, I don't believe in God and I'm because of what somebody else didn't do. They ain't got nothing to do with you. Don't put yourself in hell because you are mad about what other people weren't doing in your life. Again, you're focusing on the wrong thing. What about what was going right? What about what was? And that's what we have to realize right now. With our family that is going through stuff and that's hurting us, and we feel like we don't have no connection, you have to worry about what is going right in all these situations. You do. If your people are going through health problems, what is right now is the fact that you know that your problems and those habits that you were kept doing, now you realize that you can't eat the same way that you used to eat. You can't move the way you used to move. You can't just do the things you used to do. And that lets you know that you need to tell other people that same thing. This isn't just something that you can have. This is something that can happen to just about anyone. It just happened to happen to you. It just so happened to happen to you. And how will anybody else know not to be a certain person, not to do a certain thing, how to stay clear of certain things that you've gone through if you're not saying anything? That's why you're in the situation that you're in, because nobody told you. Right? Nobody told you. And if they did tell you, you didn't understand how they were giving it to you. So right now, you have to take the situations for what is good that's coming out of it. Listen, I heard that people are going through evictions. People are in these twin flame relationships and not knowing how to deal with these situations. People are going through so many things. And my thing is, I have one thing to say to sum all this up, to be honest. It's like, honestly, it's not like different little scenarios. No, it's one thing. One thing I will let you know is that you never have to be in situations and deal with stuff that is below what God is giving you. If God has told you you're meant to do something, you're called to do something, you're called to be something. And even if you feel like, I don't know what that call is, God hasn't told me anything yet, I can't hear God. Okay, I'm gonna talk to you in a second. But if God has called you and told you that you meant to preach, you meant to teach, you meant to be speaking and giving people a guidance, you meant to write a book, you meant to whatever God has told you to do, create, be, inspire, however God has told you to move, you haven't done it yet. You're sitting here wanting God to lay all this shit out. Like, oh God, but how and how did I? You do everything else by yourself. Why not just start again praying, waiting, and allowing God to give you guidance and give you love? Give you guidance, give you love. You will pray about it, and immediately after this prayer, immediately after you praying about a relationship with a man or whatever, you immediately are not waiting on God to make a move. You are back in your own energy, like, okay, now what am I gonna do? So I guess I'm gonna just text him and I'm gonna do. Or I guess I'm gonna just try to do this to get the money. You are still in your energy. After you have prayed and talked to God, ask God to keep you in their energy. God, please keep everybody who sees this video in your energy, in your essence. Because a lot of them, after they pray to you, after they receive knowledge, after they receive your covering, they want to move back into themselves. Some of them don't sit in your presence long enough to even receive your covering and receive your information, God. So one thing I need for everybody to do, I think that is, I forgot what passage that is. It says faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Okay? Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. And it doesn't mean you hear in the scripture and that's how you have faith. No. When you hear something that stirs up your spirit, that is where your faith comes from. When you hear and you feel all these things and you feel God move through you, when you hear the word of God, that's where your faith comes from. And you can't hear God if you haven't sat here and listened. If you're not sitting here quiet enough. If you are constantly, again, we have to think about these things that I've been talking about over the past couple of weeks. What's on your timeline? Who are you looking at? Who are your best friends? What do they sit here and talk to you about? Do you talk to them every day? And what do y'all talk about? What do y'all discuss? support your family? Again, do you have crazy faith people around you? Not people who just are always gossiping, always talking about what the hell is going wrong in their life. Always, and my thing is not just talking about what's going wrong, but constantly doing the things that are causing them more hell, right? If you don't have crazy faith people around you, that people are like on their stuff, really love God, really believe in themselves, really believe in you, will help you do whatever. It doesn't matter what they have or what they don't have. Really will pour into you, really are inspiring, really, even in their hard times, are still trying to move and still are motivated. Do you have people around you that are like that? Do you watch people on social media that are like that? Is that somebody that you are? You have to start really getting into who you are and your habits, because we want these people and we want these habits and things in our lives, but we don't have these habits. And we have the habit of watching people and being on social media and doing all these, putting a whole bunch of people around us. Oh, I want to be like this person. But they don't have any of the habits and things that you want. They're not confident in themselves. They do not truly believe in themselves. They do not truly believe in what God has said for them. That's why they are on social media all night and all day trying to make money, asking you for money, not asking you, can you intuit how they're feeling and stuff like that, because they do not believe in God enough. Why is somebody asking you, spiritually, a person who is trying to tell you what to do, why are they asking you for money? Why are they asking you for these things? And that has nothing to do with, like, if you need something, ask and you shall receive. No. If a person is always going through something, always asking for money, always they think that their money and all that stuff is within the community. No, it's within God, and God is who moves through you guys. For a lot of us, we have to realize that specific thing, that God is not a person. God is not your boyfriend. God is not. I've been at a place in my life where I needed a man, or I needed my mom, or I needed somebody to I needed people to make decisions for me. I needed people to make life seem like it made sense for me. Like I couldn't make life make sense for myself. So I needed somebody to help me. I needed somebody to make it right for me. And you have to realize that you cannot depend on anybody to do that, because these people are going through the same thing. They're just as human as you. They're going through the same things you're going through. How are you going to put your life in somebody else's hands when they're not living the life that they want to live? I can't put my life in my mom is my mom, but me specifically, I can't put my life in her hands. My mama has not gone. She has been traumatized, abused in a way that she cannot even have crazy faith. I can't put my life and my dreams in her hands. I love her dearly, but I can't do that. Not for me. My dreams are not gonna go anywhere in her hands. The men that I've been around, no. I have huge, crazy faith dreams. And my thing is, if nobody else around me has these dreams, I have to keep them to myself. I have to sow them myself. I have to do this stuff myself. And we want everybody around us to do it with us. We want everybody around us to be in the same lane. And that's not how it's going to be. That's why I've had to let relationships and situations go. Listen, when people are talking about twin flame relationships and all these things that are not going right, you have to realize you don't have to stay in a place. Again, you don't have to stay in any place where you are not being loved, where you're not being taken care of, this is not the old days like we're in the Bible. We're not enslaved. Slaves couldn't just run away. If you walked into another town, they knew you weren't from that town because of what you were wearing and how you looked, and they was gonna kill you for that reason. No, none of us are enslaved anymore. So literally, if you had a job that you don't like, you can literally leave that job and go to another job if you wanted to. You feeling like you are not valuable enough, you feeling like you don't have it enough, is why you won't. And it's not, that's why I say, again, it's not just about picking up and going to another job. It's about finding something that you actually like and actually want, and not just moving to something because of something material. That's the reason why we're in these places. That's why the reason why we're going through evictions. That's the reason why we are in these relationships troubles. That's the reason why we're in this place right now, because we moving into places because, this seems right for right now. This seems like I have enough money. It seems like I have the capability for this. It seems like not at all thinking, is this a place that's going to be good for my family, good for my foundation, good for We are thinking about these one-way things, and then when the situation breaks and when something goes wrong, we're sitting here left like, I'm falling, I'm drowning, I've gone through the eviction, you guys. And I will tell you one thing. Me choosing the place, I hated the place that I was living in. I hated the place I was living in. It seemed like jail. The windows all had like were tinted on it. I think there was like a bullet hole in my darn window. Like it looked like maybe drug dealers probably lived there or something before I lived there. But it was really weird. And my thing is, I'm very natural, holistic. I need sun to come through my windows. I need brightness in my home. The home was so small. I just really did not like it. But that was the cheapest place for the moment that I can get. And I didn't want to move back home with my mom, so I moved there. And again, within that time period, that's when not too long after I became an entrepreneur. I found tarot and I started doing the spiritual work. And again, in the spiritual work, one of the main things I thought when I was doing spiritual work is, oh my gosh, everybody needs this. Everybody needs this. I'm gonna quit my job. Everybody needs this thing. I'm gonna be rich because this is something that everybody needs. Everybody want to know these type of questions. Everybody want to know about this type of stuff. But again, I did not, even when in that decision, I did not think about long term. What did I want to do long term? What was best for me long term? What was the message I was trying to get across long term? I did not think longer into the future with that decision either. And when it came down to it, where I quit my job and I'm in this place now that I can afford for over a year, God blessed me with financial help from the government, from people that I love, and even through you guys. For like, I was making enough money to have my bills paid for a long time, until I wasn't, because not only did you guys start to change, but I started to change and realize that the little questions and the bullshit that y'all was asking me was not the meat and potatoes of what y'all really want to ask me. Oh, should I stay in this relationship? Oh, what's my next move? Oh, that's bullshit. That's bullshit, to be honest. You guys really need to know, God, how do I shift myself? How do I change myself? Because my thing is, you can ask what's my next move every fucking day. You can ask my next move every fucking day. No, what you really need to know is, God, how do I be myself? What's my purpose? How do I move in this life? How do I use the tools that you've given me? Y'all have big questions to answer. And I didn't realize that because I came into this in a very small way. So I had to realize to myself, how have I been compromising myself? How have I been just taking what's here in front of me just so that I won't be pushed back? A lot of us take a lot of shit, just take some bullshit that we don't even like or don't need, or that's not even all that we want in the moment, just so we won't feel like we're alone or that we are pushed back and we're not where everybody else is. When you think about these twin flame and stuff like that, I talk about it on social media. I don't even believe in the twin flame dynamic anymore because I feel like it's dumb. It makes sense to the fact that two people aren't alike. That makes sense. That two people have different energies, and that one can be nurturing and one can be just open and loving and this energy, and the other one can be more logical and all this other things. That makes sense as well. What doesn't make sense is that you guys have to sit and stay with each other, knowing that your energy is not the same, knowing that your energy is imbalanced, but you guys have to sit with each other through all of this bull crap, all of this hurt, all of this pain, all of these things like that. It says, love. God said, love, endures all things. Love believes all things. Love is everlasting. Love is just this beautiful thing. And also at certain points to the Bible, God said love has to be like death. And it's like, again, when God says that, you have to, it's not saying you have to die for the people that you love. It's saying you have to love so hard that you're willing to release yourself for the person that you love. And if a person is not willing to love you so hard, like Jesus did, where Jesus said, I love you so much that I'll release myself just to make sure that you're good. If a person does not love you so much where they will become a different person for you, does that person really love you? Again, I told my mom before, I was like, Mom, you gave me love, yeah, you did whatever. But my thing is, when in a certain situation that I faced in my life, I was like, Mom, I did not feel loved in that situation. I didn't feel love when I was going through my psychosis. I didn't feel loved by you. I felt like you were what is the word? I felt like it was almost like a threatening energy or a scared energy or whatever. I said, I didn't feel loved by you. I didn't feel like you were giving me love, Mom. And just because you feel like you were doing whatever in your way to love me doesn't mean that I felt love. And because of that, I had to learn to give myself a different type of love. And that's what I have to say. Like, you just, a person, you will think that you're loving the person the right way, and a person that will think that they're loving you the right way. But if you have to heal from that love, if you got to if they're not helping you, if they're not guiding you towards God, if they're not guiding you towards love, if they're making you hurt more, if they're breaking you more, God is going to break you. God is going to heal you. God is going to do all these things. So if they're breaking you, I feel like you're taking yourself through stuff that you don't have to take yourself through. God has never put you in a place in life where, like, okay, like, just take whatever and hopefully you get out of this stuff good. No, you have to be logical. Be logical. Why in the world would you stay in a relationship or stay in a situation with a person just because, again, we love to put a title on things. That's why so that we can justify it. Because you think it's a twin flame. Why are you staying with somebody who does not respect you? They're claiming that they love you. They're claiming that they want to be with you. They're claiming that they will marry you and all these things, but they continue to lie. But they will not kill off themselves for you. They will not become a different person. They will not stop cheating. They will not stop lying. They will not stop putting themselves first. They don't love you. They think they do. They wish that they did. They wish that they had the capacity to love you the way that they do, but they don't. And God would never bless you. That's not a blessing. That's a curse. God would never bless you with somebody in your life like that. You chose that person because of a trauma bonding. You chose that person because of this hurt and this pain that's instilled in your heart that's not being healed yet. Let's be honest. That's why I cannot get with the twin flame thing anymore. Because why choose a twin flame when you can choose a soulmate? There is somebody out there that feels the same way that you feel, that has the same energy, that resonates, that wants to see you do well, that wants to see you be good. It doesn't matter if y'all are in a romantic relationship or a platonic relationship. This person just wants to see you be everything that you were meant to be. And why would you sit here and wait around for a person who keeps, again, twin flame, that's always a runner chaser shit? Why would you sit here in a relationship where a person is constantly lying, constantly running away, constantly does not understand what you're saying? It's constantly back and forth. You're moving your journey one way, they're moving their journey another way. It's why are you sitting around? Why do you have to sit here and wait on this? And again, also with the twin flame journey, it makes you want to wait on this person because of the thing they tell you at the end. Oh, well, one twin. If they both heal, they're meant to be together and they're gonna get married. And that energy makes you want to wait on them. That energy makes you want to, even if they're doing all this stuff, you don't want to move on. You don't want to get into another relationship. You don't want to do all this other stuff. And even if you do, you're still in the back of your mind hoping that this person does right, hoping that this person changes, hoping that this is your twin flame for real. I feel like you're putting more trauma on yourself. You are. Everybody talk about blood sticking in water. That's why I feel like, again, like this, God is going to give you family. Again, God is going to give you a crazy faith family. You are sitting in this place because you've only had people in your life that did not have crazy faith. You've only had people in your life that did not believe. You've only had people in your life who have been at the very bottom and bare minimum and don't think they can have anything more than that. You've only had these people in situations in your life. So when it comes to God telling you, oh, you can have more, you don't know how that's going to come. You don't know how you're going to manifest. You don't know how it's going to align. But it's because you're worried too much. You're worried too much. Like I told you guys last week in my prayer, the girl I had one girl, she commented on my post. She's not even a client of mine. She just commented on my post on Twitter, and she was like, what do you believe in? She asked me what I believed in because I was telling her I didn't use tools, I didn't use tarot and stuff anymore. I was just trying to get on my godly stuff and channeling intuitively and just letting God move through me. And she's like, what do you believe in? Because my religion has been changing. I don't believe in what I used to believe in. My family, it just doesn't seem right. And I'm like, okay. I said, I felt the same way. I didn't really believe in anything. I believe that, if you if you believed in yourself enough, if you believed in your own energy enough that you can do it, if you manifested and affirmed yourself enough that you will feel courageous enough to do certain things. And I was at a point where I did. I was at a point where I was manifesting quickly and easily and fast. But my thing is, you cannot forget about God even when you're at that point. And that's one thing I had to learn the very, 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 very hard way. I forgot about God. I thought that it was only me. I thought that I was doing it by myself. And when I didn't realize at the beginning, I was praying to God for these things. I was asking God for these things. I didn't do this by myself, and I thought I did. But I was praying to God for these things. I was asking God for these things. I was up all night researching. God was sending me stuff in my mind. I was writing these things down. It wasn't just me. When I thought it was just me, then I started falling. Then I didn't have any more money. Then I started going through an eviction. Then all these things started happening when I thought it was just me. And that's what let me realize that I can't ever be selfish like that again. I can't ever think that this was just me. I can't ever think that I'm just making this shit move, because I'm not. I don't make nothing happen. I literally, me and you could be gone tomorrow. This could be the last day we live, and we don't even know it. And that's how I know I don't move anything. Again, I thought that I knew how to make money. I thought that I knew how to market. Because I was making money. But the moment that God switches life and switches everybody's mindset, and now they're not going on the same thing, now I had to switch up the entire way that I make money. And it's not just because of y'all. It's like, dang, I knew that I wasn't just trying to do love readings and sex readings and all this dumb shit anymore, because that's not what y'all need. I'm not trying to take y'all money. I don't want y'all to not ever need a reading from me again. I want you to be able to pray and believe and know yourself so well that you don't need a reading from nobody. That you can pray and that you can manifest and you can talk to God in a way where you know yourself. You know yourself what God is saying. You know yourself what God is doing. You know yourself how God is moving. You don't have to ask anybody for it. And once I realized that, my money became even slower and slower, and that's why I had to realize I had to move out of what I was doing. Me doing tarot, again, for anybody to do it, you have to be honest with yourself. To be a tarot reader, that is a job where you're expecting for people to not know themselves. A person who knows themselves does not need tarot. A person who knows themselves doesn't need you to tell them about themselves. So again, to be a tarot reader, you are expecting for people to not know themselves. And my job, I felt like after learning these things through me doing this job for 3 years, I had to be like, okay, I need people to know themselves. And that's not what a tarot reader is. I have to be a coach. I have to coach people. I have to show people the way. I have to give people the rules, the guidance. Because me just giving you a reading, that's me just taking your money. That's me and I felt bad for that. Even though that's how I made money, even though I'm not making no money right now because I'm not doing what I used to do, I feel better in this way because I know that I'm not just taking money. I'm not just taking money just for you to come back to me next week or next month because you lost again. I need to give y'all the rules and the guidance on how to follow God so that you can do it without me. So that you can do it without anybody. Y'all are depending on, again, you think that a man is God. You think your mama is God. When you're going through a hard time, your first emergency contact is a nigga. Your first emergency contact is your mama, your grandma. Your first emergency contact is It's these same people who either they can give it to you, but that's not going to help you grow. That's not going to help you learn about where you need to be. That's not going to make you into more of a person. That's not going to make you any more independent, any more know what you need to do. Or they can't give it to you. And they're going to talk about you, and they're going to insult you on all these other things. Regardless, if a person can't help you, why are they your emergency contact? Now, I ain't gonna ever say that God ain't gonna make you call somebody that has, or make you need somebody. I won't ever say that God won't make you a person that you thought you broke up contact with, or thought you whatever, and make you call them because you need them and to help you or whatever. I won't say that God won't make you do that. But what I will say is that emergency contact, who you feel like you're... Oh, I don't like this car. Sorry, y'all. But a person that God is not going to make you be begging and pleading. That's how I feel. God is not going to make you be begging and pleading for what you want. Not to no regular person. To him, yes, but not to nobody. Period. Because they're not your God. Like, you don't have to be begging and pleading nobody for what you need. You don't have to be begging and pleading. Yes, God always says respect. Give respect where respect is due. Asking, you shall receive. Do all these things, don't be shame or whatever. But God ain't never told you to beg nobody. Actually, God says don't be begging. Don't be borrowing money. Don't be doing none of that. Because if you borrowing money from people that you already know is not even in that same energy as you, they're gonna want it back plus tax. They're gonna do all these things like that. Don't be doing all that. Don't be doing all that. Don't be putting yourself into more stuff that you know you can't handle right now. That's the thing about us. We try to figure out stuff temporarily when God's like, listen, I'm trying to help you with the long term. Like, we got to think about this long term. And we try to move quick and fast so that we can get this temporary help, but it doesn't help for real. So, yeah, when it comes to twin flames relationships, that's just how I feel. I will not let any title. Twin flame, soulmate. Let's stop putting titles on this stuff at all. You need to be with the person in a situation, in a relationship, at a job. You need to be in a place where you are loved, where you are adored, where you feel like God is. If you're like, oh, this person keeps lying to me, keeps cheating, you're not gonna ever believe in God because you don't believe in yourself. You're letting a nigga send you to hell. You know what? I'm sorry. That's wrong. You've sent yourself to hell before you met that nigga. I said it to my friend, to the person who I thought my twin flame was before. You sent yourself. You already sent your soul. You go, oh, this man, he changed my whole life. He messed me up. Blah, blah, blah. No, you did it to yourself when you met that person. Because even when this person has been the same person that they've always been. They have. You sat there and ignored it because of something that you wanted. You wanted to see past all that. You wanted to see past the lying because you're used to the lying, because that's what your mama or your daddy or your friends or your other old boyfriends did. You wanted to see past the lying. You wanted to see past the red flags. You wanted to see past the fact that they didn't want no marriage. You wanted to see past the fact that they didn't want no children. You wanted to see past the fact that they didn't want a relationship. You wanted to see past the fact that they had sex with your sister. You wanted to see past the fact that relationship, the fact that they like polyamory. You wanted to see past all these things because you thought that you could change it, because you thought that you were God, because you thought that they were going to be different for you. When in reality, you have to stop doing that. Get on the same page with what you want. Stop thinking that you are going to change a situation. Stop thinking that you're going to change it. Align with the situation that is meant to align with you. So you don't have to be crying and praying and hoping God changes it. If you waited on what you love, that's the main thing. We don't want to wait. We don't want to wait for the relationship. We don't want to wait for the man. We don't want to wait for the money. We don't want to wait for the perfect job. We want to get whatever we get now and then pray, oh my gosh, God, please, why is this not how I want it to be? God, why am I only getting paid a little bit of money? Because God told you to wait and you said that you couldn't. God told you to wait and you didn't want to. And when you chose what you want to choose, now you're mad because it's crumbling, but God didn't choose that. And God is not going to bless what God didn't choose. This is a truth. This is me knowing myself. When I realized that all the things that I chose for myself and they went down, I had to be honest with myself. I'm like, you know what, God, you didn't choose this. I didn't ask you for this. I didn't pray about this first. I didn't do any of that. But I showed it at the end when stuff was breaking down, and when I'm crying, and when I'm getting cheated on, and when I'm worried about my health, and when I'm doing all this stuff. Yes, I am. I'm praying behind off, ain't I? And we do this often. We don't want to include God in shit until it's done and until we're going through hell. And that's the last time. That's the last moment that you want to be calling God, to be honest. Because what you don't realize, this is Betty Boop. It's this Betty Boop episode that I always think about. But there's this little boy, and he went around terrorizing everybody in the neighborhood, from the animals to the people, messing up their stuff, cutting off people's hair, playing with lions while they chained up, just everything. And at the end, all that stuff came back, and it was rushing after this little boy, and he's running his behind. I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Betty, please, help me. She's like, you're gonna have to go back and redo everything that you've done. And that you don't understand, that's what God makes you do. That's why you have to carry your cross. That's why it still hurts. That's why you still remember what you've done. That's why it still hurts. Because you have to carry the fact that, yeah, I have done that. And my thing is, after carrying it for so long, after you know the truth, you're not shamed about it anymore. You're only ashamed because you've been ignoring it. You're only ashamed because you've been letting it run you. But once you acknowledge, damn, I did make the right decision. Damn, I didn't ask God for it. Damn, I didn't sit here and wait. Damn, I didn't sit here and actually be patient and listen for what God said. Once you realize these things, you realize that it probably was not meant to be there, and that God is probably ready to give you something bigger and better. Listen, you guys, I know you guys are going through new transitions in your careers. People have changed their majors. People have changed their whole career paths. People want to change their whole career paths. People want to know their passion. People want to know what God is doing in their lives and what is meant for them. It's the same thing I just said, but I'm gonna give you a little more into it, you guys. You got to be a planner. I'm gonna link my videos again. I think that you guys have to, and that's not think, I know. You guys have to go back and listen to my other videos. You got to go back and listen to my other videos, because I've been talking about these things for the past couple of days. These questions that you're asking me is questions that I've just answered in my past prayer requests. So again, a lot of times you're asking questions over and over again that God has already given you the answer to, but you're not listening and you're not ready to do anything. And I just said that in the video, that a lot of time we are asking. I made a video about that as well. So again, you have to watch the video about stop trying to plan God and become a planner. And you have to watch the video where I was ranting about my daughter, saying, what was the title of that video? Stop asking God for things, but not being ready to do anything. So I'm going to link those videos, because you guys have to go back and watch these things if you really, really want to know. You guys have to become a planner. You have to realize that God has made you purposeful for a reason. Realize that you're neurovirgin. People who have wanted to commit suicide, people who keep going through all these health issues, people who think that they are maybe ADHD and dyslexic and bipolar and schizophrenic and going through these psychosis and all these things that people, like, your mind runs differently. And my thing is, even people who have different sexualities and things like that. Again, your mind moves differently than other people's. You think very differently than the average person thinks. So everybody has a neurodivergent mind. Everybody has these different thoughts and different reasonings and different energies and everybody has this different energy. And once you realize that this energy is not just within you, or not just within the next person, or it's just not just a little bit of the population, and that it's everyone. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm high. Oh, how you doing? But once you realize that it's not just you, and it's everybody. The lady I just walked past, the man down the street, everybody. Once you realize that everybody is neurodivergent and their minds work differently, and that's why they make different decisions. That's why they've had different experiences. That's why they've gone through different things. That's why, once you realize this thing, you stop feeling like you're abnormal. You stop crying. You stop being insecure. You stop being ashamed of what you're going through. You're not the only person that's been heartbroken. You're not the only person that's had their car repossessed. You're not the only person that's been evicted. You're not the only person that's ran out of money. You're not the only person who had to move back in with their family. You're not the only person. You're not the only person. But you're crying and you are feeling insignificant and you're all in this hustle mode and you're moving and you're overwhelmed because I don't want to be here. I hate to be here. So you're doing everything that you would hate to do and you don't want to do, just so you won't be where you are. And God is saying, why the fuck would you do that? That's what God's saying. Why the hell would you do what you don't want to do? I'm not telling you. I mean, this is me as in God. God is not telling you, oh, just because you don't want to be here, you're not going to be here, so you're supposed to do working overdrive doing what you don't want to do. Hell no. God is saying, okay, you don't want to be in this place. You don't want to stay here. You don't want this to be where you end. You don't want this to be your last energy. That's cool. Now, what have I given you? I've given you a voice. I've given you an amazing brain. I've given you a cell phone. I've given you legs. I've given you eyes. I've given you connections. You have social platforms. You have all these things, groups, and all these things that can help you feel more connected to people. I was saying something like that on social media very recently. Like, you can literally go on Facebook or Google or wherever and look up a group that fits anything that you're going through. Like domestic violence. If you look up domestic violence, there is hundreds of groups about domestic violence. You look up freaking, I don't know, couponing. There will be, hundreds of groups of people who know how to coupon. So once you realize that you have a certain goal, or something that you want to, or something that even that you're facing, that you want to feel more content in, there are people around you that are here to help you in every way. And don't just be rushing to any person. Don't be waiting for anybody to help you. No, that's not it. But you have to know what your long-term goal is. And hold on, you guys. If your long-term goal is to be happy, healthy, content, present, to be yourself, to walk in your purpose, if your long-term goal are these things, then what you have to do is you have to realize that you are neurodivergent. You're not like anybody else. God is not finna give you no plain, no regular little gift like everybody else has. God's not probably telling you to be a banker. God's not probably telling you to be a judge. God's probably not telling you to do that. God is not, for the people who are really, really, really following God, God's not finna give you no regular ass job like McDonald's or Wells Fargo or anything like that. I promise you, everything that God has told people to do, God has told them to do something that ain't nobody ever done. God does not have no regular little shit for you. And if it's some regular shit, you probably in your own mind. You're probably listening to your own self. And the thing about it is, when you're following God, you have to know that you're not going to have exactly what you want in the moment. You're probably not going to have what you want for a while. I had to move back home too. Some people I had to move back home, or they're going through situations where they're in between living, or they just have been going through these situations for a while. I had to move back home as well, you guys. After I went through my eviction, I had to move back home. And when I tell you, I would, at the beginning, I was like, what the F? It is cluttered. You hate not being in your own stuff anymore. You hate not being independent anymore. You hate feel like you have to be around somebody or whatever all the time. You or just be under somebody else's roof or worry about their rules. It's annoying. I know it. But one thing I can say is it allowed me at this point to start to go slower with God. God is never, again, I read a scripture today. It says, God says, go, flee from here. That was a scripture that I just posted on social media earlier today. But God was saying, go, flee from here. And don't move with haste. Don't be all fast. Don't be running out. Don't be doing all this stuff. But move with structure. Because one thing you have to know is that Jesus is going to go ahead of you with the Holy Spirit, but God is going to be behind you. God is going to watch you over the rear, and your Holy Spirit, and Jesus is going to move ahead of you. So it's saying, you don't got to flee. You don't got to rush. You don't got to do all this stuff to get out of where you at, to flee out of Egypt, to get out of bondage. That's why I told you guys, this is my exodus. We were in bondage for too long. God chosen people were in bondage for too long. We've sat here and we let people enslave us. We've sat here and let people tell us what we can't be and tell us what we can't do. We sat here and have felt like we had to stay in bullshit. We've sat here and not said nothing. We still prayed. We still cried. We still asked God for mercy. We sat here, y'all. But no more. We're not sitting here no more. We're not in slavery no more. We're not in bondage anymore. And if you're not in bondage, that means you are walking how God walked. But you have to remember that as soon as God took them out of Egypt, they sit here and walked around the freaking desert for 40 years on a trip that could have took a couple days. And it's because God can take you out of bondage, but if you're not ready to listen, if you want it so fast that you're gonna pick up on other guys, that every little thing that go wrong, you can be calling the other guys. You finna be think about asking other people, who don't even mess with God, don't have the right mindset, nothing. You want these same people to influence you and tell you what to do, and tell you how to move, and tell you who to be. If you this journey can be easy, it can be simple. It can all be so simple. Ain't. But you rather make it hard. Yo, ask me, brother, make this bit hard. Somebody go listen to that song. Loving you is like a battle, baby. But we can't keep making this situation harder than it needs to be. God is literally saying that this can be easy. We can move through this quickly. But my thing is, you have to trust me. You have to believe that I'm guiding you in a way that you need to be moving. And if you're still moving fast, again, I can't get out of my eviction. I can't get out of my relationship. I can't get out these things quick enough the way I was thinking. Because, shoot, even though I knew I shouldn't have been doing love readings or I shouldn't be doing whatever, I was willing to do it because I ain't had no money. You ever been willing to do anything because you ain't got no money? You ever been willing to take anything from a nigga because you don't want to feel alone? You ever been willing to just stay anywhere because you don't got nowhere to stay? You have to be willing to listen to God, because again, God will tell you to be humble sometimes. God will tell you to humble yourself and stay down in the situation, because you will be protected there, you will be safe there, and you can come up, you can build yourself up. But God will tell you to humble yourself in a situation where you can build yourself up, but God is not ever going to tell you to stay in a situation that is diminishing you and hurting you and keeping you down and keeping you just betrayed there. God is not. Oh, did God send this? Again, God never said, God, like, oh, God, did God send this man from me? God, the people who are enslaving the children of Israel, the people who are killing everybody, God didn't say, oh, I sent you to be this person's love of their life. Hell no, God didn't send this person to be your damn love. No. Why? Why would God do that? What would be the purpose? God's intention is never to hurt you. Even when you're going through shit that's hurting you, even when you're going through stuff that is like literally diminishing your spirit. Say, for instance, losing your stuff, losing your home. It's only because these are things that you've chosen yourself. And when God gives you something specific and then tries to take it away, you better even be happy about that. I understand when God takes away some shit that He didn't even tell you to have. But when God gives you something and takes it away, God is going to bless it and give it back to you. Because why the heck, like when God took away, when God was like, listen, I'm going to give you Jesus. I need to take him away, but I'm going to give you something even better. Everybody in the world going to be saved. If God says, I'm going to bless you and you're going to write a book. I'm going to bless you and you're going to have a kid. I'm going to bless you, If God takes this away, you better know that there's something more amazing that's about to come out of this. So you have to be secure within yourself. You have to be secure within yourself. And you have to realize that it takes time. And I'm going to make a video about that next. The ways of hearing God, learning what your purpose is. You're not going to learn, I promise you guys, one of the main things you have to do right now is stop asking God your purpose. Because if you don't even know how to hear God, if you don't know how to listen to him, if you can't even channel messages from him, he's not going to tell you your purpose. Everybody's purpose is to do what God has told you to do. But if you can't hear him, he's not going to tell you the purpose. Like, you can't even hear him. What sense does that make? It's like telling a baby who cannot walk to go in the kitchen and fix you something to eat. Why is God going to tell you and give you a whole purpose if you can't hear, recognize who he is? You're not even sure what your spirituality is. You aren't even sure where you're going. God can't tell you your purpose if you aren't sure who you are. So again, we're asking the wrong questions. We're asking God the wrong question. God, what's my purpose? That's my purpose. First and foremost, God, how am I meant to move for you? God, how do I be who you've meant for me to be? God, what is the path that you've meant for me to walk down? How have you meant for me to walk? How have you meant for me to talk? How have you meant for me to present myself? God, right now, I don't feel like I'm being myself. I feel like I'm being who the world wants me to be. How do I be who you've meant for me to be, God? God, how do I hear you? God, start to talk to me in my dreams. Start to talk to me every day. Start to speak to me when I'm weary. Start to speak to me when I fear, God. Start to speak to me when I'm happy. Start to speak to me in the morning. Start to speak to me in the evening. God, speak to me at all times. I want to hear you, and I want to know your voice clearly. God, I don't want for your voice to sound like this ego or this fear or this overwhelm. I want it to be clear, and I want it to be distinctive. God, please awaken me today. God, please awaken me to your voice, to your knowledge, to your wisdom. Ask God awakens you. Lord, oh, this is a long walk. I told you guys this was not going to be long, but it was. But, yeah, it's not easy knowing your purpose. Again, I went to church this weekend. It was like, only person on the earth who was born on their purpose was Jesus. That's it. And that's real. There's nobody else on the earth who knows what their purpose is and know what their purpose is meant to be, except over trial and error and time and learning who God is. And if you don't know exactly who God is, stop asking for your purpose. Ask for God to reveal to you who he is and how to be an amazing follower, how to be an amazing servant, how to be a good person. Stop asking God to bless your mess when you don't know who God is for real. When you're not following God, what God is doing for real. When you're not preaching what God has preached for real. When you are still ashamed of yourself and ashamed of everything that you're doing and ashamed of everything that you are. Stop asking for God to bless you. You're fake. You're a masked singer. You're masked. Why is God blessing lies? Why is God blessing something that's not true? Why is God blessing something that's not stable? Why is God blessing? God, again, ask yourself, again, come to this knowledge, come to this truth. Why would God bless something that is not meant to be blessed? Would you? If your best friend or your friend came to you and her marriage is just falling apart, her friend, her man always cheating on her, and you know he be cheating on her, and you know he don't give a darn about her, but you're constantly, but she come to you like, oh friend, I listen, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but you're not gonna bless her relationship. You know, girl, I love it, and I really hope that everything is amazing for y'all. You're not, even if you do say that, you're not blessing a relationship for real. You're being fake. Because you can't really say what's on your mind for real. God is not finna bless no mess. The same way you wouldn't bless no mess. And if you do, that's your issue. And again, whatever you do within yourself, the lies that you keep within yourself, the shame that you hold, the things that you aren't real about, that's the same way. That's the same energy that God gives you back. That's why you feel, that the universe gives you what you want. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. God is going to give you the exact same energy you act in. You believe your lies, you believe your shame, you believe all these things. You finna believe it a million times heavier. So, you have to trust yourself. You got to trust yourself. And that means that you have to spend more time away from things that are not godly. That's how you start to learn yourself and learn your passion and learn what God is doing for you. The more time you spend away from people, and things that are not aligned at all with what God is doing for you. If everybody's talking about bullshit, if everybody's talking about the wars and COVID and all this stuff that, oh God, we don't know what we're going to do. We almost all going to die, and we're going to have to da-da-da. If can't nobody see what God is doing, if can't nobody see how God can change this, if can't nobody see, only thing they're doing is breeding more faithlessness into you. Only thing they're doing is making you more scared. You have to put it into yourself. You have to encourage yourself, and that means that you cannot be around, hang around, put yourself in situations where people don't have faith. You just can't. And I know this is our people we were born with, our family, our mamas, daddies, brothers and sisters. These are our boyfriends. These are these people. You cannot. Because especially when you are in your small stage, especially when you don't know no better, especially when you are, still trying to learn yourself, and still trying to learn all these things, that is, again, when you don't really have the faith, when you really don't trust yourself, when you really are still at the beginning, that is going to be your detriment. You're gonna be listening to that, and that's gonna have you off. You can't do that to yourself. You can't. So you have to choose yourself. You want to choose the fact that I want to have somebody around me. I want to have people. God is going to bless you with crazy faith people. God is going to bless you with a crazy faith family. God is going to bless you with inspirational people. God is going to bless you with all these things. God blessed you with me on this app today. God blessed you. But my thing is, and God is going to continue to do that. But if you are not willing to let go of what is hurting you, God can never bless you with what's going to help you. If you feel like what you're holding on to is better than what's to come, that's your opinion right now. And that's what you're going to keep getting. And that's the first step. It's about realizing that you got to let go in order to let God do what God does. But yeah, the darn Vaseline. But yes, if you are not willing to let go, you are not willing to let God do what that God does. And that means that you want to play God, you want to hold the situation off for yourself, you want to take it all, but you still want to pray, still want to ask God. No, when you're done holding on, when you're done with this being so heavy, when you're done taking it all by yourself, when you're done, let go. Let go. Let go of the stuff that's holding you. Let go of the stuff that's making you cry. Let go. And a lot of us are not willing to let go because we're not tired. How you doing? We're not tired right now. We're not tired of crying. We're not tired of this job. We're not tired of not making no money. We're not tired of not living our purpose. We're not tired yet. We just getting started being in hell. It doesn't hurt bad enough yet. So we rather stay right here. We rather stay in the pits. Rather than, again, God said, let's move. Let's get up out of here. Let's walk. Let's do it. But I want to do it with you slowly. I want to walk with you so that you can know that I'm ahead of you and behind you. I want to walk with you so I can know, so you can know that I'm right here. But you won't walk. You're trying to run. You're trying to run from what's behind you. You're trying to run from your family. You're trying to run. You're trying to run from everything that's around you. And while you're trying to run, you can't hear. Because you're breathing all hard. Because you hear the screaming and the yelling and the cackling and the laughing and behind you. You hear all this stuff around you. That's why you're trying to run. Stop running. Stop running from your past. Stop running from your problems. Stop running from all these things. Because God, it told you, I put in that scripture today, God, it told you that there's not gonna be any shame when God gets done with you. There's not gonna be any hurt when God gets done with you. There's not gonna be any heartbreak when God gets done with you. It's just not. God's gonna bless you in a way that you, again, it's going to bless not only you, but your offspring, but your descendants from generation to generation to generation to generation. Only thing that God asks is you to get your tent, the tent that you're staying in right now, and to expand it. And that doesn't mean with your home or your house or whatever. It's saying that whatever this space of comfort and of stability and of you feeling at peace, wherever that is, expand that. Expand that. This level of comfortability and of home and of structure and of peace, whatever that is for you, you have to expand on that. And once you expand on that, you realize that that is going to be the structure and the foundation and the stability for your descendants moving forward. If you don't start it, if you don't expand it, if you don't take what's right now and take what's small and expand it, it's not going to go anywhere. You expected your mama to do this. You mad because your mama didn't do that. You mad because your daddy didn't do that. They didn't have what you have. And my thing is, if they did, they were scared to use it just as well as you are. Leave that generational curse of fear. Leave that generational curse of overwhelm. Leave that generational curse of abandonment. Leave that generational curse of having to stay in pain and stay in slavery. When it's fucking time to get the fuck out of slavery, leave it where it's at. It's Good Friday. Jesus was crucified for all of our sins. That's why I told y'all many times, I don't care what you believe in. I said, but if you do believe in Jesus, why the fuck are you scared about anything? Because Jesus died for everything. If you believed in Jesus, Maybe you believing in the wrong shit. You believing in these people who had to steal. You believing in these guys and these angels and stuff who had to steal for what they have, who had to steal their name, who were killing their fathers and doing all this fucked up shit for shit like that. You believing in these type of people, but you not believing in a nigga who literally, was the most humble nigga ever. Did not hurt anybody. Didn't want to do nobody bad. Didn't want to do nobody wrong. And this nigga, when he died, it said that all your shit was wiped clean. Every sin that you have made, any will make, for every that anybody will make, that shit will be forgiven. And if it's like that, if you believe in Jesus, it's like, it don't really matter what I do. And it's not that I'm supposed to just move however I want to move. It's like, now that I know I can move in an amazing way, and that Jesus died for all my sins, I ain't gotta really, about the shit I did before, I ain't gotta worry about that shit. It's not my business anymore. Nigga, Jesus died for my sins. Fuck all that shit. It's over. Hello? It's over. And it's not as easy said as done, because you still, again, you got to carry your cross every day. But you have to start feeling like that there's no shame in your game. And that means that you have to start being honest with yourself. You're not honest with yourself. That's why there's still so much shame in your game. That's why you still, that's why you're still overwhelmed. That's why you're still going through stuff. That's why you're still crying. Because you're still ashamed. And the reason why you're still ashamed is because you're still there. There are people that are still in a situation they're not ashamed because they understand and they're knowledge of where they at, and they know. You have to know where you are and know where you don't want to be anymore, and realize, even if Kevin Hart said this many times, I forgot what this man said, but when he was saying something like, the hardest thing you can do is pray every day for your circumstance. Pray every day and wake up and be in the same situation, but you have to work hard every day to try to get out. You waking up in the same situation every single day, but knowing that you got to work yourself out of it, knowing that you want to be better. That's one of the hardest places that you can be in, and it is. Because every single day, you want to be better. You know that you're trying to be better, but it don't seem like nothing's turning. Nothing is changing. You still here in the same place. Money is still due. Times is still moving. But you don't realize that you are looking at the material aspect. Listen, you have to be looking at the spiritual aspect. Listen, if God was to take away that person, your mom, your dad, whatever, your bills, your worries, all this stuff right now, if you didn't have anything to worry about right now, you would just be worried about your spirit. Listen, whether you have the money right now to pay your bills or to not, you can't control that. You can't control it. Yeah, you can make more money. Yes, you can overwork yourself to death to try to do it. Yes, you can. But do you want to? You can't control it. You're trying to control a lot of things that you can't control. You can't control if this eviction is going to go through, if this person really wants you or not. You can't control if you are here or you're going tomorrow. You can't control if your boss is ready to fire you today or tomorrow. You can't control all these things. And you can beg and you can plead and you can try to undervalue yourself. You can try to overwork so that you don't reach those places. But what is the situation really? And stop trying to control things that you can't control. Just realize. Once you realize that it's not about it being controlled, it's about you aligning with what is meant for you. And if you are already not in a place where you're meant to be, and God is showing you that you got to get up out of here. Before I had my eviction, God showed me in visualizations that I was going to be taken away from me. God showed me many times that I was going to be taken away from that place. And I did not want to believe it, because I was like, God, please, no, like, what am I going to do? One thing God does say is rest, is meditate on God's word. Meditate on God's word. If God gave you a visualization, if God has said something to you, if God has told you to do something, if God has told you to be something, meditate on that. And when God told me, I don't meditate on God's word. I meditate, but not necessarily on God's word. And that's what we have to start doing more often. Meditate on what God said. If we start meditating on, like, if God gave us a vision of what we need to do, who we need to be, the book that we need to start, these things. If we take some time and meditate and say, God, Give me more information on what you just given me. Give me more information on this thing that you just poured into my mind. Give me more information on that. We will know more. Even after this video, you guys, to ask God after this prayer, God, give me more information on what Shania was just saying. Give me more information on what my purpose is. Give me more information. Reveal to me how this situation is going to work out for me and my family. God, please give me more information on how I'm supposed to work better with my health. God, give me more information on what I'm meant to do with this job. God, give me more information. God, reveal it to me. Make it clear to me. I want to see it with my eyes. I want to hear it with my ears. I want to feel it in my spirit. God, help me to know exactly how to move. God, I'm ready to write it down. I'm ready to lock it into my brain. I'm ready to move on it. I'm ready to be patient with you. I'm ready to hear you, God. I'm a patient listener. And I'm accepting that I'm neurodivergent. I'm accepting that you come to me differently. Not like everybody else. I'm accepting that you come to me differently. And I'm ready for you to come to me in your own way. I'm not overwhelming it. I'm not finna overthink it. I'm not gonna rush you, God. I'm not finna be asking you every single day. I'm gonna wait. Because I know when it's really, really meant for me, you're gonna give it to me.